There is a question that does not arise in the rational mind until the silence becomes unbearable. It is not born in logic, nor in the pursuit of evidence. It emerges quietly, like a shadow at the end of a long day. Why did your soul choose your mother? Not just biologically, but existentially, morally, metaphysically. In a world where infinite possibilities existed, why her? Why that specific voice, that unique silence, that particular kind of love, pain, confusion, warmth, and absence? Kant, though he never spoke of reincarnation or souls choosing their families, did believe deeply in the moral architecture of existence. He believed, we do not come into the world as empty vessels, but as rational beings with an innate sense of duty, of dignity, of freedom. What if the choice of your mother was not a coincidence or punishment, but a necessary step in the unfolding of your moral awakening? Imagine, for a moment, that your life is not a random sequence of events, but a composition, ethical symphony where each note, each pause, each dissonance, and each harmony has a purpose. In this symphony, your mother is the opening movement. Her voice was the first sound that entered your world. Her body was the first universe you ever inhabited. Her hands were the first tools that helped you navigate the physical world. Her gaze, approval, absence, rage, or gentleness became the mirror through which you first learned to see yourself. And yet, for many, that mirror is cracked. For some, it is shattered. Kant's philosophy was never one to dwell in sentimentality. It was built on clarity, structure, autonomy. But even Kant knew that reason without emotion becomes tyranny, and emotion without reason becomes chaos. Your mother, whatever shape she took in your life, was the first moral challenge you were given. She was the first contradiction, the first test of your understanding of love, forgiveness, and boundaries. She was, perhaps, your first paradox. What if your soul chose her not for comfort, but for growth? Not because she would make life easier, but because her presence or her absence would demand that you rise? What if her limitations were not barriers, but invitations? In Kantian terms, you are not here to be a victim of circumstance, but a legislator of your own moral law. That law begins, not in a perfect world, but in the exact world you inherited. The mother you adore didn't have was the first terrain of your ethical landscape. She is the soil from which your freedom must grow. Ask yourself, what did you learn about love from her? Not just the good, but the wounds. What did her affection teach you about dependency? What did her rejection teach you about resilience? What did her silence teach you about your own voice? Kant teaches that dignity is not something given, it is something recognized. What if your mother's inability to see your worth was the very fire in which your sense of self had to be forged? What if your need for her approval, denied time and again, was the tool through which you learned to approve of yourself? There is a moment in every life where one must turn from asking, why didn't she love me the way I needed, to why did I need her love to define me? That moment is Kantian. It is the shift from heteronomy, being ruled by another's law, to autonomy, being governed by your own. And no one brings you to that edge more fiercely, more honestly than your mother. Some mothers nourish, some mothers neglect, some mothers wound with words, others with silence, but all of them place before you a mirror. And the question is not whether that mirror reflects what you wish to see. The question is whether you will look into it long enough to truly see yourself. You did not choose your mother to remain a child. You chose her so that one day you could stand before the world, no longer seeking her voice in every corner of it, no longer trying to replay old scenarios in new relationships, no longer asking others to be what she couldn't be. You chose her so you could break the chain. You chose her so you could learn that boundaries are not betrayals, that forgiveness is not forgetting, that healing is not pretending, that strength is not hardness, that you are not here to prove anything to her or anyone else. You are here to prove something to yourself, that you are free. Freedom, for Kant, is the cornerstone of moral existence, but it is not the freedom to do whatever you wish. It is the freedom to act according to principles you would want to be universal. It is the freedom to rise above your wounds without denying them. It is the freedom to say, my mother was human, and so am I, but I will not pass forward what was passed down to me. In this light, your mother is not your adversary. She is your initiation. Perhaps she never apologized. Perhaps she never changed. Perhaps she never knew the damage she did. Or perhaps she tried her best, and you still feel empty. Still, she was the doorway through which you entered this world, and that entrance was sacred. The pain that followed was not the end of the story. It was the beginning of your ethical becoming. Kant believed in the categorical imperative. Act only according to that maxim whereby you can. At the same time, will that it should become a universal law. Ask yourself, would you want the world to act toward their mothers the way you act toward yours? Would you want them to speak of their past the way you speak of yours? If not, then you still have work to do, not for her, but for you. You can forgive her without inviting her back. You can understand her without excusing her. You can love the part of her that lives in you, while choosing not to repeat the part that caused you harm. You can build a new legacy, not by erasing the past, but by transforming it. You are not a prisoner of your origin. You are the author of your future. But every author must reckon with the first chapter. Your mother is that chapter. And no matter how painful, how confusing, how beautiful or broken that chapter was, it was yours. It shaped your hands. It taught your mouth to speak or to silence. It taught your heart to open or to shield. And now, as an autonomous moral being, it is your task to decide what comes next. Why did your soul choose your mother? Because she was the exact combination of presence and absence, love and fear, truth and illusion. That would push you to ask this question. And the moment you ask it, not with bitterness, but with courage, you step into the freedom that Kant believed was the highest expression of human dignity. You are no longer reacting. You are choosing, and in that choice, you become not only free, but whole.